Okay, hi guys. Welcome to a very red Tuesday here, January 16th, 2018. We are seeing the first correction, the first major correction of 2018. The whole market is down about 20 to 40%. Bitcoin's down to around 10,000. Ethereum's actually dropped below 1,000. The streets are red. So what's happening here? What does this mean? What do we have in store for us? So if we look back historically, I found this a really interesting statistic, is around this time every year for the past 3 years and further, this has actually been the week with the lowest prices. In 2017, the low was on January 12th, 2016, the low was on January 16th, and in 2015, the low was on January 15th. So this is actually really historically just true and in a continuation. You know, this isn't anything new based on the trends. And if we look back, you know, we've seen dips of from 20 to 40 to even 90%. We've had dips probably ranging on the average of 50%. They've happened over a dozen times since 2010. And obviously after those dips, each time we've broken through and created a new all-time high. Something that I feel is really important to iterate here is that the technology behind Bitcoin and blockchain, behind Ethereum, it has not changed. It's only improved. You know, so when you see these big dips in prices, if you're a believer in the technology and what this is going to do for our world, for our ecosystem as a global whole, you know, there's really no need to get afraid. In fact, you should be excited if you have any extra fiat kicking around, because this is a time to buy the dip. You know, this volatile price action really doesn't have an influence on the advancements in the technology of this space. So allow yourself to sit back, relax, and enjoy this ride, because there's really no pressure. Unless you're using money that you shouldn't have invested in the first place, you should be able to sit back, relax, let these waves happen, because the technology and the direction that the blockchain space is heading is a phenomenal one that's going to absolutely revolutionize the way that our world interacts with itself, from the internet to the Internet of Things, to the way we do commerce, track goods, have creative control over our artistic content. Blockchain is going to be a foundation, and there is no question about that. You know, there are other technologies competing with blockchain. Granted, you know, you have the Tangle and Hashgraph coming out, but one thing is for sure is that new technology is coming out. Sorry about the swats. I'm surrounded by little fruit flies. I'm at a little artist residence here. I had to escape, so I'm just on the side of a lake. Yeah, the technology is staying the same. What I found super empowering, and I found a lot of maturity in this group, was that when I posted the poll, what are you doing during this dip? It was over, what was it, 4/5 or even greater said, you know, I'm just holding the dip, or probably around 90% of you either holding or bought the dip. So I feel like there's a lot of knowledge and wisdom in this group in being able to hold, to buy, to know that there is a massive amount of longevity happening here, that these short-term dips, if you're new to trading, don't worry. Even if you've just been in for a week and you've just lost half your portfolio, I understand. I felt that one before. But don't worry. Just sit this out. Maybe it's a week, maybe it's a month, maybe it's half a year. But if you're investing with an amount that you're comfortable to play with, you know, just sit on it, because the worst thing that can happen is when you sell at the bottom and then you miss the climb back up and further. If you're trying to day trade this, well, good luck. Day trading is never easy. And if you're trying to cash out to Tether right now, disclaimer on Tether, Tether is essentially backed by nothing. Kind of like the US dollar. It was supposed to be backed by, well, Tether was supposed to be backed by US dollar, and originally was, but since then has become unhinged from it. It's been printed and been essentially like really proliferated on these different exchanges. And it could all come down like a house of cards at any moment. And the time that it is going to come down like a house of cards is when most people are going to be using it. So there's going to be, this is what I'm imagining is going to happen to Tether, is a lot of people are really going to push a lot into Tether because there's a big dip like this one, but I'm projecting maybe in a year, maybe two, and something's just going to go not right because of the volume, or I'm not exactly sure of the specifics of how Tether operates under the hood, but I can really feel them just pulling the pin, and we're going to see some calamity in the cryptocurrency space when that happens, because I don't really believe it's an if. I think it's a when, because it's built by nothing, and when things are have no foundation, they're bound to fall. There's going to be massive chaos in the cryptocurrency space. So maybe hold a little bit of fiat, because guess what? There's going to be an even larger dip from that. So get ready. I think that's going to be a very interesting time. Right on. I'm just going to pop into the comments here, see what anyone's saying. Yeah, so one comment by Stuart, what about Tron? Can it recover? You know, a lot of projects lately, especially today in the last week, have seen some massive dips. And so I won't go into individual projects so much as whether XYZ project can recover. It's rather, can the cryptocurrency space as a whole recover? And I feel like I touched upon this, that, you know, the technology is only getting stronger. It's only getting more widely adopted. You know, how many applications were built on Ethereum 2 years ago? Yeah, you could hold them in your hand. There's none, or like less than 5. And now there's an insane amount. They're popping up daily, about a dozen daily. And what I find is really cool about Ethereum is in the top 100 coins on CoinMarketCap, 44 of them are applications built on Ethereum. So if that doesn't say an astronomical amount about the power of Ethereum, I don't know what does. So there's more and more applications being built. And whether Ethereum can scale or not, this is a question that a lot of people are debating. I truly do believe it will. They have a phenomenal development team. But even if they don't, you know, I don't think that's too big of a problem, because we have already blockchains being developed and utilized. Say Neo has already 10,000 transactions per second compared to Ethereum's 10, and it's already running on proof of stake, which is infinitely more economically friendly, or like better for the environment. And you know, then we have things like Cardano, we have things like IOTA, Rayblocks. A lot of solutions are coming out right now that are really going to one up the technological ability and really surpass Visa and MasterCard. You know, you have Omise Go, it's already slated to be doing 1 million transactions per second, and that's an app built on Ethereum using Plasma. Bonnie, one of my really good friends, she says, people act like they have never seen a correction. Lord help us. And, you know, I agree. When you've been in crypto for a while, you become a little desensitized. There's this one gif of Mr. Bean. He's on a roller coaster and he's just so bored. He's just being whipped around. Everybody else is screaming and he's just completely morose. And that's how I feel now. You know, I look at my portfolio, it's down, you know, 40%. And I could care less. I could care less, because I know when I check back within, maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's 2 years, I really don't care. It's going to be back up. This technology is here to stay. I feel like we're really pioneers of a global revolution and shift in technology. You know, we will be rewarded for weathering these storms. But on that same note, I think a lot of people haven't seen corrections like this before. The last time that we saw a 50% correction or so, that's I think what we're dealing with right now. Let's see. We had an 85% correction in 2015, and then the second most was 40% on January, 2 months before August. June of 2017. I'm pretty sure that was the China Jamie Dimon thing that dropped at 40%. So, you know, we just quote unquote, weathered the storm with that South Korea fake news, or maybe misleading news saying that they're going to ban cryptocurrencies. All these countries saying, am I going to ban it or are we not? You know, countries really can't ban cryptocurrency or blockchain, for lack of a better term. They can regulate it, they can tax it, they can make it harpto. But at the end of the day, you can always interact with the blockchain no matter where you are in the world. Even if your country has a massive internet firewall around it, you can still send SMS signed transactions with a private key signature to, say, a node or a server outside your country, and then that will then broadcast it to the blockchain platform. So don't worry about government regulation in blockchain. You know, we are going to be just fine. Alan says, do you start to enjoy the dips down too? It's always impressive to see the quick rebound. Yeah, I love it. I think if it was just a steady rise, I mean, that would be great, but I sure enjoy these dips. It adds for a level of excitement, that's for sure. Yeah, so everyone's talking about China situation comments, like what do I think about that? And essentially I just mentioned it there. You know, I'm not really concerned about government regulation, because this is cryptocurrency is moving in a decentralized fashion that essentially will transcend regulations and borders. And there's already solutions being put out for this. You know, you have a VPN, great, you can transcend it. I just touched upon, you know, even as simple as something as like being linked up to SMS capabilities. You know, you can interact with blockchain. You know, where there's a will, there's a way, and government is not going to be able to keep up with this new technological innovation. So, when I hear about the China news, the Korea news, whatever news it is, it's, for me, some of the least exciting news, because it really, in my opinion, doesn't hold any tangible weight on the direction of the cryptocurrency space as a whole. Yeah, so this is, someone says, that's why it's great to keep some, Paul says, that's why it's great to keep some extra cash for the future dips. This is always a catch-22, because you don't know when these dips are going to be. Like, let's say you're holding Ethereum at 500 because you're waiting for the dip, and then it just shoots up to 1,300, and now it's dipped down to 1,000. Okay, great. You now have bought the dip at 1,000, but you could have bought it at 500. So my investment strategy always is to simply, when you have the capital that you're ready to purchase with or invest with, to just get in on the day that you're ready. And then from there on out, just weather the storm, enjoy the ride. It's full of ups and downs. It's beautiful. Any particular coin on my buy list with this correction? And do you think it will take Bitcoin to start up to correct this dip, says Troy. So first on the second point, does Bitcoin control the market? I don't think Bitcoin controls the market. I feel the market is really moving synonymously. There's not one or the other. You have bots that are using other currencies as trade indicators. So what I mean by that is, let's say the price of Bitcoin goes down, let's say just $2. There's bots on Ethereum that watch this, and it potentially gives them a sell indicator because Bitcoin went down, they automatically sell Ethereum. But the inverse is true as well. Let's say there's a bot on Ethereum, Ethereum goes down $2. There's bots on Bitcoin that also say buy or sell regarding to what happens. So it's not one or the other that's really indicating the movement of the market, but they really happen unanimously. And Bitcoin, there was a beautiful picture I saw. It was of Splinter, and there was an image of Bitcoin on his back. Then there were 4 Ninja Turtles next to him. It was like Ethereum, Litecoin, and a couple others. And they were just little turtles, and Splinter was holding their hands. And then the image under, Splinter, he's old. The Ninja Turtles are grown up. And I feel that that's what we're seeing with the cryptocurrency situation right now. That these altcoins, quote unquote, have really risen up, given themselves some power. And, although Bitcoin is the wise old sage, the first one here, the one that taught the altcoins how to do it, the day of Bitcoin is coming unless Splinter can, get himself some mechanical legs or do a little bit of Tai Chi. In reality, Bitcoin needs to get the Lightning Network and increase its transactions per second, as well as get lower transaction fees. Otherwise, Bitcoin will not be the #1 currency for long. Even if people say it's a great digital store of value, a great digital gold, potentially, yes, and in all truthfulness, that's correct. However, being just simply a digital store of value is not enough to keep you at the #1 spot in cryptocurrency land. There's going to be so much more utility. Look at platforms like Ethereum that are housing decentralized applications on a global scale. We're going to see infinitely more capital invested into that than just, say, a digital gold, when a lot of these cryptocurrencies can, quote unquote, act like a digital gold as well. Have we seen the bottom of the dip, or will there be more to come? So I haven't done any technical analysis on this. We're looking at a couple resistance points right now. The next two really are 8,000, and the real long-term support line is 6,000. That's not using the 200 moving average or anything like that. That's just looking at strict support and resistance where price action held for a long time. So it's going in $2,000 increments right now. So if Bitcoin drops below 10,000, I would not be surprised to see it drop to 8. That being said, who cares? If you're weathering the storm, you're weathering the storm, and time doesn't really matter. I always suggest, I won't say that I suggest against day trading, but it is sure damn risky. If it breaks, because the market is so unpredictable. I can't stress that enough. Even though I think in my head right now, and it seems logical, well, if we break the resistance of 10,000, we're going to 8, there's probably a 30% chance that it only goes to 9,500 and then bounces back up. So day trading is super, super risky, and you're always going to feel like you missed out a little bit because you're never going to time it perfect. But I know a lot of you are doing it. A lot of you are doing a good job. But I don't know who's familiar with the Warren Buffett bet. This is the one that inspires me to hold the most. This bet that Warren Buffett did. He bet the 10 best hedge fund managers in the world. It might have been 20. I'm not too sure. That they could not make a portfolio that outperformed a certain grouping of index funds that he was just going to hold. So he was going to hold a certain amount of index funds, kind of like, you take the top 20 cryptocurrencies and say, you can't outperform this by picking altcoins outside the top 20. And he challenged these guys for $1 million. And it was a 10-year bet. And I think it's about year 9 right now, but they've all conceded already. Warren Buffett has just absolutely crushed them. He's won the bet that the best professional, quote unquote, day traders in the world could not outperform an index fund. And I think that speaks volumes. I know when I first got into the space, I thought I was Johnny Two Shoes and was able to day trade and swing trade. But, after I went back and actually calculated, okay, how much would I have made if I just held? It was fairly similar. I made a little bit more day trading, but I have to say the energy and effort that went into it, and stress and time just looking at a screen and shaking and watching buy walls, not worth it. Not worth it at all. I'd much rather enjoy my life and let the things happen of themselves. We're looking at, like, if blockchain does what we are all expecting it to do, these dips, let's take Bitcoin, for example. Let's take Ethereum, for example, because I hope Bitcoin's not around in the future. It's having a tough time scaling. Let's take Ethereum. So if you're trying to swing trade, like 10, 20, even $100 on Ethereum right now, at a price of 1,000, who cares? Who cares, in my opinion? What I think is you really want to just hold. Ethereum, in my opinion, is going to be hitting easily 5 figures within the next 2 years. And so, these couple $100 are going to be insignificant. Some of you would counter argue and say, yeah, but then you're picking up extra Ethereum that you could then grow. Fair enough. But again, day trading, that was a tangent that I didn't want to go on for too much. But then, again, what is my favorite altcoin right now to buy while it's on the dip? So yeah, I don't really care about necessarily like, oh, this one dipped the most, so I'm going to buy into this. I'm just more looking at certain projects that I really, really enjoy and want to invest in. 2 of them, one is Neo, and one is, oh my goodness, Walton Chain. So I like Neo because it is technologically superior to Ethereum, and it has the number 2 for most decentralized apps being built on it, and the market cap is significantly lower than Ethereum's market cap. So there's a massive amount of room to the upside for Neo in 2018, especially if we can start seeing some dApps developed on it. And Walton Chain, I think this is the most undervalued project out there. Walton Chain is essentially like allowing the blockchainization of all things. So if you want to do a supply chain management system, you can do that with Walton Chain. So what that means is, like, let's say they teamed up actually with OEM, or the company that produces OEM windshields. So you put a little RFID sticker on that windshield at the manufacturer port, and then all throughout the shipment process, you scan the RFID, and then on the blockchain there, you can see what is the process of transactions, where are things going. And so you can do this with anything. Like, let's say you put an RFID chip on your car, you buy it, you scan it, and then you take it to the oil, you get the oil change, you take it to the mechanic, you get in a collision, you get repairs on it. All of these incidents or events can be scanned with the RFID chip and then implemented into the blockchain. So then when the next person comes to buy your car, they can see exactly what has happened. This works, for absolutely any object, whether it's a house, whether it's just some small physical good, including food shipments. So I really like Walton Chain. Then, yeah, just one more. Everyone's talking about Cardano right now. Cardano is on paper, a very fantastic project. Charles Hoskinson's brilliant mind, co-founder of Ethereum. Cardano ADA is the acronym. And a lot of people have a lot of hype about this because it is allowing people to have multiple side chains, multiple blockchains that all interact with the main chain. So this is fantastic because it allows for infinite scalability and really fast transaction speeds, really low transaction fees. However, it's not really being implemented to the level of Ethereum yet. So it's not necessarily way up there on my list of to invest. It's a nice speculation, but I don't really believe that it deserves to be in the top, top 5 right now? There's just not a lot of adoption yet. The tech is strong, but there's just not a lot of adoption. So, you know what, I'm going to wrap that up, guys. That's my thoughts on the little crypto volatility right now. If you're new, hold strong, because this is just a little storm that's to be weathered. There's no bad news happening. The tech has not changed. Blockchain technology and cryptocurrency is just as strong as ever, if not stronger. We're seeing over 100,000 people sign up daily to dozens of different exchanges. The exchanges are getting so overloaded that they can't even keep up with the demand. They have to shut new entrants from coming in. So we are seeing a massive influx of capital into the cryptocurrency space. This is just a short-term dip. And hold strong. Much love, guys, and have a great rest of your day.